researching swearing and its relation to pain tolerance. People who frequently swore during the experiment perceived decreased pain and managed to tolerate more of it. Now, you may have known that, but he did another experiment. Okay, this is a follow-up to this. The next experiment measured pain tolerance in relation to how often the participants swore. And surprisingly, he found that people who swore frequently have a lesser increase in pain tolerance compared to those who swore infrequently. So if you curse less, I think, if I'm understanding this correctly, if you don't curse on a regular basis, when you do find yourself in pain and you do curse, you get more pain tolerance out of that.
Right.
He went a step further. So he found out that, yes, when you swear, when you use a curse word like that, yes, it does something physically to help you in your tolerance of pain. Now, physically, I don't know 100% sure, but it does something. But this time he used specific. He wanted to see if the F word really was the one.
I'm fascinated with this because, and once you give your scientific explanation, I'll see if it comports with my belief.
So he used the 4 words. He used he measured the uses of 4 words. The F word, first of all. Then he would use a word to represent a table, like solid, flat, or square. Pretty generic word.
Solid!
And then, well, that's kind of what he was having people do.
Yeah.
And then he had 2 made-up swear words, all right, which were fouch and twizpipe.
Twizpipe?
Okay.
Twizpipe.
That's probably his nickname in college.
To test.
Hey, the Twizpipe's here.
The test was still the same. 92 participants were asked to submerge their hands in ice water ranging from 3 to 5 degrees Celsius, so almost freezing.
Yeah.
During the test, participants were asked to randomly repeat out one of the 4 words every 3 seconds. So, twizpipe and fouch. And words like flat were used.
So here's what I think. The word is constructed in a way that is almost like like a karate exaltation, like so you're starting with the F, and then when you end with the hard consonant of ak.
Yeah.
Ak.
Yeah.
It is. I think that word is perfectly constructed to, what is when you yell out in karate, what do they refer to that as?
Kiap.
Right. So that, I think, and that even is a little protracted. The F word is a perfect, and as you're exhaling and hardlining on a very abrupt consonant, and I think that's why it works so well.
What about
does work.
art, though?
I don't think so, because the T is not as brick wall as the K.
Well, hang on, because the S word ends with a T, and sometimes that one works too.
I never default to that, though. I'll default to that if it's not a pain thing or if I'm walking out without my
frustration.
keys.
Yeah. Okay, I see that. Now, I'm curious about Casey, because Casey, you use the F word more than anybody I know, by far.
You. Yeah.
So I'm curious how that results when you use it in a painful situation. If Casey gets
Still
less
has to-
pain tolerance
Because he's trained himself.
because he uses the F word so often.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, but we'd have to do a test. And,
I don't want to do
we have any ice cold water?
I don't want to do a test.
Well, I have a ball-peen hammer in my drawer in there.
Listen, I curse off air often. But I don't curse on air, obviously, and I don't curse at home. Well, that's kind of lifted as my kids have gotten a little bit older and
What's
stuff.
your go-to default if you are
Mother
in pain?
effer,
Is it-
probably. Yeah.
But he uses F as a kind of enhancement,
Sure.
as a crutch.
Yeah, sentence enhancer.
A sentence enhancer.
Yeah.
But he'll use it as not necessarily as a punctuation, but just as a staller. The effing guy told me that I had to go with the F home or whatever.
Yeah.
Something like that.
By the way, there's been a similar survey that says that while we think the natural result or the natural perception of using expletives in a sentence would indicate, they don't have the vocabulary to support an argument or to convey a thought, it's actually the opposite. What this study showed is that people who will use sentence enhancers like that are probably more intelligent.
It's funny hearing my kids curse now because it's free reign.
Is it like taking it out for a spin? Are they still finding their footing?
A little bit.
Do you ever consult them on? Let me give you a little pointer on that.
No, they just know that. Listen, in certain company, it's not okay to do that.
Right.
With people they don't know yet, and with adults they don't know, you don't do that. But No, they're using it properly.
Yeah.
They're using it.
Well, they've heard it in context,
Yes,
right? Your
they
wife has a pretty bad potty mouth in front of them. If I recall.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's usually the other way, right?
Yeah.
My dad would mix the King's English, as I've said many times, where he had a great vocabulary, but the expletives flew liberally.
I cannot, and I have never used the F word in front of my mother. I just won't do it out of respect for her. She doesn't like it. I don't know if she's ever.
And yet she calls you an effing yam bag.
No, she called me a yam bag.
Tell ham ass to get in here.
Tell that effing ham ass to get.
But I do feel like if you are an adult and you can't take foul language, the F word, lighten up.
I respect people's, like, for
Tell your
example.
mom that?
Yeah, come on, lighten up, you old crow.
Yeah.
I don't think the C word would work as well because you end on a more
T.
diffused T.
And even the when you start with that C, you need to end with that,
Right.
Not begin. I'm with you. I see that physically.
So
the way it
say
works,
the C
physiologically.
word backwards, Preston.
I don't know.
TNUC.
TNUC.
It's like an Indian word.
Oh, that's a new word. That's a new word. We can say that on the radio.
TNUC.
Yeah.
You TNUC.
It's like
You smelly TNUC.
it's like a Klingon.
We're so stupid. We're like giggling, dude. TNUC.
I don't call me
That
stupid.
guy's a dumb TNUC.
A festering TNUC.
No,
You are.
Smelly, sweaty TNUC.
Kathy, how do you feel about this?
I mean, come on.
Hey, we're not-
Really?
All right, if
Yeah,
I'm going to be
really.
honest, Kathy wrote that on a piece of paper and slipped
And
it over.
slid it over to you.
Say TNUC.
Kathy's your writer.
This will be hilarious.
All right. Let me